So in this chapter, banking, yes, seminar. That's wait. I told you I'll inform you. That day I just gave you. We formed the groups. Okay. You're very eagerly waiting to take the seminar, Shubham.
Ma'am, group, I don't know who is there.
Okay, that day I told you Karthik, Tomlin, and Shubham. Am I right, Karthik? The group members?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Karthik, Tomlin, and Shubham. Then Anila, and who else?
Femina and Basil.
Anila, Femina, and
Basil.
Basil. Okay. Anila, Femina, and Basil. Okay. The topics are not confirmed, finalized. We'll let you know. Okay. Anyway, Shubham, you can inquire with Karthik and Tomlin later on. In case if you are absent in the class or I miss to inform you. You can contact them. Okay. Let's come back to the topic. What is RBI? Yes, RBI. What is RBI? Quickly.
It is apex monetary institution which supervises, regulates, control, and develop the monetary and financial system of the country.
Okay, very good. Okay, and who is the RBI governor now? Fast. Yes. Who is the RBI governor? Yes, Anla, are you saying the answer? I can hear you.
Srikanta Das.
Very good. Sri Shakti Kanta Das. He is the RBI governor. And how is the organization structure of RBI? Yes. Yes, Hannah? Okay. How many members are there? We have the governor at top, 4 deputy governors, 2 members from Government of India, then other departments, directors from other departments. Okay. Functions of RBI, who will explain? Just the points. Give me the points. Functions of RBI. There are so many points. And I had asked you to prepare a concept map on functions of RBI. I'll definitely display that. I received only 3, I guess. Only 3. What about the others? Forgot? I told you just to write the functions of RBI in the middle and some clouds or something like that. Some according to your idea to just point out the functions of RBI. Only 3, I guess. Yes. 3 of them have sent me their concept map. Others forgot. Don't forget. Okay. Keep it in your mind, prepare it because it is very important topic. That's why I want you to learn the points. Tell me, what are the functions of RBI? Functions of RBI. Anjo?
Issue of currency.
Issuer of currency.
Banker to the government.
Banker to the government. Yes, Sharat, continue. Give me other points.
It gives financial advice to the government.
Very good. Yes, then? Yes, Aditya?
It sets the interest rate in commercial banks.
Yes, okay. Okay, let's discuss it again. Irfan, switch on the video. So, these are the functions of RBI. Issue of notes, banker to the government, banker's bank, controller of credit, custodian of foreign exchange. And we have several other points too. Financial supervision, monetary authority, issue of currency, and coming to monetary policy. What is monetary policy? What is monetary policy? We have two macroeconomic policies. Which are they? Yes, we have two macroeconomic policies. Forgot monetary policy and fiscal policy. Okay? Monetary policy and fiscal policy. These are the two most important macroeconomic policies. For what? To keep the economy stable. Okay? We'll come to it. Issue of currency. There is a term minimum reserve system. What was that? Minimum reserve system. It is a term, the currency issue system, followed by RBI at present in order to issue. It is something related to the currency issue. Okay, a minimum reserve system which requires RBI. RBI should maintain a minimum reserve of how much? Rupees 200 crores. 200 crores, and comprising of this 200 crores means it includes 115 crore in the form of gold. It can be in the form of foreign currencies, gold coin and gold bullion. And rupees 100 gold bullion means out of this 200, 115 crores should be formed in the form of pure gold, biscuits, bars. Okay, and the rest 85 crores in any other form, foreign currency, gold coin, any form. So that is minimum reserve system. Underline, very important term. Minimum reserve system is the currency issue system followed by RBI. Okay, banker to the government, banker to bank, financial regulation and management. These are all the functions of RBI. Sure question as essay, functions of RBI and developmental roles. This RBI plays the developmental roles also. Developmental roles means for the development of the economy, to develop the quality of banking system, not only to control the economy, to regulate the economy, to improve the quality. What are the various measures taken by RBI? I told you RBI have set up training colleges at several places. Then, they have started various banks, promotional schemes have been adopted by RBI to export credit, to encourage credit, export. RBI takes several steps. Then, the most important function is inflation management by RBI. Inflation, that is the most important thing. Controlling inflation. Okay. See, RBI manages the inflation using monetary and fiscal policy. You can see, I told you this, you can make use of this idea to prepare your assignments. Fiscal policy and monetary policy, they both are keeping the economy stable. Fiscal and monetary policies are the tools in the hands of government and the central government, hands of the government to control fluctuations in the economy. And they try to balance the economy and smoothen the economic cycle. What is monetary policy? What is fiscal policy? Very important. Monetary policy is undertaken by monetary authority. Who is the monetary authority? It is the RBI. For what? To control and regulate supply of money with the public and flow of credit with view of achieving macroeconomic goals. Yes? Coming to fiscal policy. What is fiscal policy? Fiscal policy means all the actions and administrative measures of the government which are related to revenue and expenditure. Government's revenue and public expenditure are called fiscal policy. So this monetary policy, it is programmed by RBI. That is a major difference. This monetary policy is prepared by RBI. And this fiscal policy is prepared by the government. Okay? Monetary policy, fiscal policy. Now, again you can see a picture, a chart. Government policies, they both are macroeconomic government policies, monetary and fiscal. Monetary policy, what they do is, they adjust the interest rates. Interest rates, we'll come to it. We have various tools of monetary policy to control inflation, interest rates, etc. And money supply. What is supply of money? What is supply of money? What does that mean? Money supply, what is that? Amount of money in the hands of public. The total amount of money, value of money in the hands of public at a particular point of time. Okay, credit policy, supply of credit. Anyone remembers credit policy? What I told in the class? During the inflation, what happens? Deflation, what happens? Anyone? Can anyone explain? Yes, who will try? Let me see. Credit policy. Yes, try. Just try, I'll correct you. How does monetary policy, like what is happening to the interest rates? How is the credit controlled? Yes, who will try? Let me see. Credit policy.
Credit policy can be used for changing the supply of credit.
How? In simple words, make your friends understand what is it. What is happening? Credit policy. See, during the time of inflation, okay, it is inflation and there is lots of money with the people, okay. When there is lots of money with the people, we all have sufficient money with us, okay. We all have money. Everybody is rich. All have money. So what happens? We, even if we don't want, we'll keep on purchasing goods. Isn't it? We have money. We have money to spend. So we'll keep on buying. So buying increase, that means the demand for the product is increasing. Okay? Demand increases. When demand is increasing, automatically what happens? The price of the products increase. We are ready to purchase it. So the company, the business, they will increase the price of the goods. Okay. Now, so when there is so much of money with the hands of the public, what the RBI do is they will instruct the banks to increase the interest rate. Interest rates are increased. When interest rate is increased, then will we take loans from the bank? No. Okay, we won't take loans from the bank because we will have to pay more interest. Okay, suppose earlier it was just 5% interest. Okay, I told you there was so much of money, it is inflation, we have money and we are purchasing goods, demand is increasing, so the price is also increasing. Now, as the price increases, to meet that increase of price, we need more money. So what we do, if there is no sufficient money with us, we will definitely approach the bank for loans. Okay. So when the money, the quantity of money is getting reduced in the hands of public. So the public is approaching the bank, please give us loan. So as it is, interest rate is low, we are ready to take loans. But when RBI see the public is taking more and more loans, again so much of money is coming into the hands of public, they are again spending it. What RBI does is, RBI will tell bank, stop doing this. We'll do one thing, we'll increase the interest rate. So the increased rate is going to be increased. Let's say it has increased to 8%. So when the interest rate is increased, what happens? People won't take loan. Okay? Again, when the situation is like when the public is not having sufficient money, what the RBI do is, they will instruct the bank to reduce the interest rate. Okay, and there are various techniques, various tools that we are going to learn in detail how this RBI is controlling these interest rates. Interest rates are fixed by the RBI. How much the bank should provide, the loan for which rate, that is all decided by RBI. Let's see, we'll come in detail. But this is how the RBI controls the credit. Okay, is it clear now? So when there is so much of money in the hands of public, RBI gives instruction to bank to increase the interest rate. Interest is increased. Interest rate increased, so people won't take loans. Okay, thus it is possible to control the inflation. Then, when there is no money with the public, that is deflation, opposite of inflation takes place. Then the interest rates are reduced. When interest rates are reduced, what happens? All people again, they'll go to bank, they'll take loans. This is the basic idea of credit policy. Hope I am clear. Am I clear? Did you get the idea? Let's see. We'll move in detail, then you'll come to know. Now there is another term called price stability. What is price stability? Price stability is when there is little to no change in the economy over a period of time. For some period, there is no change in the price. There is no inflation, no deflation. That is called price stability. So price stability will lead to interest rate stability. So interest rate stability, interest rate is stable, exchange rate is stable. So it contributes to the overall financial stability of the country. So economy is stable. So one of the main aim of RBI is economic stability, to stabilize the economy. Okay. Now let's see. So I told you how the RBI is controlling the interest rates. I just gave you the idea of what is happening to the interest rate. That is credit policy. Alna Rose. Okay. Sharat, Aditya, Irfan, switch on the video. Don't keep your videos off. Okay. Now, instruments. What are the various tools that are used to control this interest rate? Okay, how is this interest rates? I told you increasing the interest rate, decreasing the interest rate. What are the various methods? How is this done? That is called the instruments, the tools. Instruments or tools, okay? We have two types of instruments, or we can say tools. The tools of monetary policy, very important, very important. So we have two, quantitative or general methods, qualitative or selective methods. Quantitative, qualitative. Two methods. Hope everybody is aware of business model of a bank. Aren't you? Are you aware of this business model of bank? How do the bank make income? Somebody explain. The basic concept of bank, what was that? Who will explain? Who want to explain? Volunteer. The basic model of bank. What is happening in a bank? The primary functions. Somebody explain fast. Anyone? The primary functions of a bank. The basic thing that's happening in the bank. Please tell me. One of you, please tell me.
The bank would accept deposits
Yes.
from the public.
The bank will accept deposits from the public.
And with that deposit, they would lend the amount to the public.
Okay, very good. Yes, they are accepting the deposit from the public, and with that amount, whatever they receive as deposit, using that they'll give loans to the borrowers, those who are in need. And how about the interest rates? How do the bank make income, profit?
The interest rate for the loans would be high, whereas for the deposits would be very low.
Yes, yes. Say, let's take the, I know that, but let's understand this, revise this again. This is called the business model of bank. Okay, this is how the bank functions. So, for the deposits, they'll be just offering 6%. At the same time, from the loans, from the borrowers, they'll be taking 10% of interest. So, the difference, 10 minus 6, that is the 4% is the profit, or this is how the bank makes their income. So this is clear to all. Yes? And coming to asset and liability. Which is the asset, which is the liability for the bank? Let's bring accountancy into banking. Tell me, which is asset, which is liability for the bank?
Loan assets.
Loan
and
is considered as
deposits are
assets. Okay. Why? Explain why are they asset and liability? How did you classify that? How did you recognize, realize? What is the explanation that you can give?
Deposits, they have to pay back to the debt.
Wait. Go slow.
Deposits,
Your
they have
voice
to
is
pay
breaking.
back to the depositors.
Yes, right. That's the point. How is the deposit becoming the liability?
It's the liability.
Okay, right answer, Aditya. Very good. See, the deposits,
They have to
the deposits, the bank will have to repay it to the customers, to the clients one day. One day, on a particular day, one day will come, they'll have to give it back to the owner of the fund. Okay, so that's why the deposits are considered as liabilities. Irfan, switch on the video. And the loans are considered as the assets of the firm, because it is that their money they are giving to somebody else, and that somebody else should bring it back to the bank one day. So the loans provided by the banks are the assets of the firm, and the deposits are the liabilities of the firm. Okay, now let's understand the term net demand and time liabilities. Okay, net demand and time liabilities, NDTL. NDTL, net demand and time liabilities. Let us wait to consider the term net. Let it be there. Wait, we'll go. Let's understand now the demand and time liabilities. We know which are the liabilities. It is the deposits from the individuals and corporates. They are the liabilities of the bank. Okay, and that liability is classified into two: demand liabilities and time liabilities. Okay, so what is demand liability? Deposits which can be withdrawn based on customer's demand. Whenever the customer demands, the bank should repay them. They are called demand liabilities. We'll come to the net concept. Wait, let's discuss the demand and time liabilities. So we understood the deposits from the investors are considered as the liability of the firm. Okay. And that liability is classified into two: demand liability and time liability. Okay. And coming to time liability, what is time liability? The deposits which can be withdrawn only after a particular time period. That is called time liabilities. Now, which are the demand liabilities? Withdrawable by on demand. Savings deposit, current deposit, demand drafts. They are all demand liabilities. Whenever the client, the depositor is in need, he can withdraw it. Savings deposit, current deposit, demand draft. Okay, and how about the time liability? Time liability means the fixed deposit, recurring deposits, gold deposits. These are time liabilities. Only after a particular period of time. Fixed deposit for 2 years. So only after 2 years you will be able to withdraw it. Okay. Now there is another category. Apart from this, there is one more head, that is other demand and time liabilities. Other demand and time liabilities. Okay? Other demand and time liabilities. Other demand and time liabilities means, Andrew, read the points. Other demand and time liabilities. What do you see on the board?
Interest accrued on bank deposits,
Okay.
paid dividends,
Unpaid dividends.
bills payable.
Bills payable. That means any kind of payments that the bank should do, should make. Interest accrued on bank deposit. Interest should be given to the depositor. That is also a liability from the part of bank. Whatever deposit we make for the deposit, I told you, we told 6% interest. That should be paid by the bank. So that is also a liability for the bank. Do you get me? So, and if there is any dividend, any kind of dividends which has to be paid to the customers, that is a liability. Bills payable, bills which are to be payable by the bank. So these are all liabilities. So this comes under another category, that is other demand and time liabilities. Other demand and time liabilities. So which are the different kinds of liabilities? Irfan?
Yes, ma'am.
Which are the different kinds of liabilities now? How many we discussed?
Demand liability,
Demand liabilities,
time liabilities,
time liabilities, then? Yes?
super liability.
Other demand and time liabilities. That is the third category. Pay attention, please. Okay, now let's see how to calculate net demand and time liabilities. So we know what are demand and time liabilities, and we have another section too that is called other demand and time liabilities. Now let's see how to calculate net demand and time liability. Net, coming to the concept net. Net demand and time liability. Net demand and time liability, NDTL. Sometimes I'll ask in the question paper, NDTL. So then don't ask me, Shubham, why did you give the short form, ma'am? Don't ask me, okay? NDTL, note the point. Net demand and time liabilities, NDTL, is equal to time liabilities plus Demand liabilities plus other demand time liabilities. And remember, there is a point to be added. These banks will keep deposits in other banks also. Sometimes one bank will be having deposit with other banks. Okay, so deposits in other banks. There is a concept, deposits in other banks. Okay. So NDTL is equal to time liability plus demand liability plus NDTL minus deposit in other banks. So this is the concept of NDTL. Time liabilities, demand liabilities, other demand time liabilities. They 1, 2, 3. They are added together and deposits in other bank is reduced from that. That is how we calculate NDTL. Okay? Okay. Now, coming to CRR. What is CRR? This is an important tool used by RBI to control inflation. Okay, this is a technique, a method used by RBI. What is CRR? So, all the commercial banks are required to maintain with RBI an average cash balance, the amount of which shall not be less than a specific percentage of total net demand and time liabilities in India. So by now, you know what is NDTL. Okay. So all the deposits, whatever the bank receives, that cannot be maintained within the bank itself. They cannot keep all the deposits with the bank. Out of that deposits, we find out the NDTL, net demand time liability is found out, and a certain percentage of NDTL has to be maintained by the banks with whom? With
Reserve Bank of India.
Central Bank of India, that is RBI. Okay, clear now? So suppose a bank has got 100 crores. The NDTL is 100 crore. Okay, and the current now in India, the CRR is 4%. Okay, RBI has fixed CRR 4%. Very important. The current CRR. What is the current CRR? It is 4%. So suppose a bank, a particular bank has got 100 crores of deposits with them. So 100 crore into 4 by 100, 4%. That means 4 crore. Out of this 100 crore, 4 crores should be maintained with whom? Should be given to RBI. So what happens here? Out of this 100 crores, 4 crores is gone. Now the bank is having only 96 crores with them. It is this 96 crores. It is from this 96 crores that the banks will lend loan to the borrowers. Okay. Sharath, what is the current CRR now? What is the current CRR? In the next hour, we'll do the puzzle prepared by Sharath, okay? We have one more banking period. We have an interesting puzzle prepared by Sharath, crossword puzzle. We'll be doing that. Sharath, don't be absent for that hour, okay? In the previous day, I was planning to do that and you were not there in the class. That's why I didn't do it then. Okay, tell me, Sharath, switch on the video. What is the current CRR, Aditya?
4%. 4%.
4%. Okay. So you know now what is CRR, isn't it? Out of the net demand time liabilities, certain percentage which is fixed by the RBI has to be kept with RBI, should be maintained with RBI. That is called CRR, and CRR is an important tool for what? To control inflation, to make the economy stable, to control the credit, interest rate, credit creation, money supply, all these points. You can mention all these points. These are all correct. Credit creation, I told you there is different ways that is said. Control of credit, credit creation, creation of credit. Money supply, another term, money supply. Inflation, price stability. Okay. Now let's see about CRR in detail once again. So I told you the bank cannot lend all the money that it mobilizes. Whatever money that the bank receives, it cannot lend it to the outsiders, the borrowers. A portion is kept with the RBI as a statutory due. CRR is a specified minimum fraction of total net demand and time liability. So certain percentage of NDTL has to be maintained as a reserve and in the form of cash or deposit. It can be in the form of cash or deposit. And this is fixed by the RBI. This rate is fixed by the RBI periodically. There is a particular period on which this CRR is fixed by the RBI. And now you know what is demand liability and time liability very clearly. And what is the purpose? What is the aim? To ensure the banks have sufficient fund. We'll come to that. Okay. Now, CRR is calculated fortnightly. Fortnightly means every 2 weeks. After every 2 weeks, the CRR is calculated and it is on a Friday. So that Friday is called Reporting Friday. Reporting Friday, okay? Now, how is this RBI, how is it influencing the economy? What is happening in the economy when the CRR is increased or decreased? Is it time? No, we have 5 more minutes. Okay, see, listen, what is happening in the economy when CRR is increased or decreased? I told you. Okay, there is 100 crores. There is 100 crores and currently the CRR is 4%. So 4% is kept with the RBI and the bank is having only 96 crores to distribute it to the lenders. So during the time of inflation, coming back to the same concept, during the time of inflation, people are having so much of money, they are ready to spend, demand increases, price increases. So they are spending and they need more money. They will approach the bank for loan. The bank will give them loan. This is what is happening, isn't it? So when this takes place, RBI will increase the CRR. It is 4%. RBI will increase the CRR, say 6%. Okay? So now, earlier there was 96 crore with the bank, but when the CRR was increased from 4 to 6%, now the bank will have to maintain 6%. 6 crore is going to RBI. Now what is left? Only 94 crore is left with the bank to give it to the lender. So the bank, what the bank will do? They will increase the interest rate. They have only less fund with them now to distribute. So bank will increase. RBI will increase the CRR. Automatically interest rates are also increased. Do you get the connection? CRR is increased. So now the bank need to maintain more amount with RBI. So from the fund available with the bank, it is getting reduced. Earlier there was 96 crore with the bank. But now when the CRR increased, 6 crore has to be given to RBI. So only 94 crore is there with banks now. So bank will increase the interest rate. Interest rate is increased. So public will not take loans. Automatically the demand reduces, inflation reduces. We'll discuss it again. It's time to wind up. We'll see it again, okay? See you in the next session. Okay, bye. See you.